When money talks, morality walks, writes Martin Devlin in this week's Playing the Ball column in NBR. Martin, thanks for coming by.
Hamish, lovely to see you again.
You too. So, Qatari Football Association General Secretary Mansour Al Ansari. A few comments a couple of weeks ago. You've taken aim at these. What's he said? What's your issue with them?
Look, my issue is multi-layered on this, about the corruption that is inherent in world sport. But it's more, I suppose, the societal comment on the fact that, Roe versus Wade has happened and the whole world goes into apoplexy. The Qatari Foreign Minister, Sports Minister, comes out with a statement which is just so grossly offensive. It echoes Germany 1930s is what it does, and yet no one, no one involved in the sport, no one from FIFA, no one from any other country in the world wants to say anything or step in and go, this is not right and something should be done about this.
And just to be clear quickly, this is ahead of the FIFA World Cup.
This is ahead of the FIFA World Cup that Qatar are hosting. This is the biggest sports event in the world. And it's so much bigger than that because FIFA have more countries affiliated to them than the UN do. And FIFA is meant to be all about inclusivity. It's meant to be about bringing the world together through sport. It's meant to be about all these lovely humane things. And yet I took the quote that he said, and it's about the LGB community, and wrote it down there and asked whoever reads this column to read it to themselves so that they can get the wording right, and then pause for a second and read it out loud. Now, I did this yesterday, and I was so glad that nobody was in the room when I read it, because when you read these words out loud, it is actually quite chilling. I asked you before we started this interview if you'd read it out loud, and you had in the office, and how uncomfortable did it make you feel?
Really uncomfortable.
Yeah. And what he's actually saying is if you have any kind of those attitudes, those support, and also those beliefs, you are not welcome in this country. Now, this is the year 2022. This isn't apartheid South Africa anymore. The world is a global village. And when countries or anyone expresses these views, most of the world reacts. Why won't they at this time?
You've seen a bit of criticism of Qatar in the lead up to this, haven't you, in terms of the slave workers, for want of a better word, and the deaths building the stadiums and the like. There's been slightly more noise about this sort of stuff as well, but it's not anywhere near at the level you would expect.
That you would expect, and also that I think we should demand.
Yeah.
Because their laws are not just draconian, their laws are inhumane. And when you're now deliberately targeting and selecting certain groups in society, well, there was a guy called Hitler did this back in the 1930s, and the world stood and watched as all of a sudden people had stars put on them or triangles put on them or all of these kind of things. I thought we're way past this. And FIFA could make an incredible statement here, and so could New Zealand football, could be one of the world leaders in this and stand up and say, this is actually not right. Now, we've got a CEO of New Zealand football who one of the first things he wanted to do was he floated changing the name of the All Whites because he was trying to intimate that it was a racist name, which is as insane as saying that the All Blacks is a racist name. Well, if you're that woke, mate, stand up for what is right. And the whole point of the column, Money Talks, Morality Walks, Hamish, is that every single country in the world that plays football gets handsomely paid by FIFA.
Well, this is the point, isn't it? FIFA's not going to withdraw the World Cup from Qatar because the money at stake here.
And also we know it was a corrupt process. They get so much money. They pay all the other countries in the world. And all the other countries in the world, most football associations like ours, don't earn a lot of money. And they'll stay stum because they don't want to lose that money. And it's on a parallel with the LIV Saudi Golf Tour, which I've written about in the past as well. I mean, who is prepared to stand up and say, it doesn't matter how much money it is, this isn't right?
I saw someone make the comment after the All Whites failed to qualify that, good on them for boycotting the Qatar World Cup, which is quite good.
Well, and FIFA have the power. Can you imagine what a statement that would be right across the world in support of? And these are minority communities, and here in New Zealand, we go, probably more out of our way than most to actually open it up and welcome it up. And we're trying to actually welcome it up and the whole transgender issues and lesbian, gay politics and playing sport and all of these issues. Well, what a statement it would make for FIFA to go, actually, hang on a second. We're so rich anyway, we don't need your money, which is the truth. But also, these kind of attitudes, you countries in the world that have these attitudes, you can't play in our world anymore. You go and have your own little silly World Cup by yourselves. But the rest of us actually believe in humanity is what we believe. And we don't believe in discrimination. And you can throw as much money to try and buy us as if you want, but we're not going to do it. I mean, how glorious would that be?
What will be interesting to see, I think, is, this stuff is too far gone now, right? It's happening. It's going to happen at the end of the year. None of the international teams are going to pull out. You would doubt that any of the players would pull out at this stage as well.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see if any of the players do make any statements.
Let me put this to you then, okay? And I didn't write this in the column. The next FIFA World Cup, which is the biggest global sporting event on the planet, it's only going to get bigger. It's got more countries attached to it next time, is in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Imagine one of those countries coming out with this.
Yeah.
There would be boycotts.
Yeah.
I don't think I would want our team to go and play in that country if that's the case. And so my point, being that at some stage, and it's been going on since time immemorial, but at some stage, surely there is a line where you say, and I admire those players on the PGA Tour who have enough money, and that's why they're not going to the Saudi Tour, because they've got enough money. FIFA is the richest sporting body in the world. It's probably one of the richest organisations, countries in the world, if you want to call it. They don't need this money from Qatar, really.
No.
Why can't they be the first in the world to actually do something right? Do something right. Because you talk about doing something right. Well, here's your opportunity.
Interesting stuff. Thanks, Martin.
Thank you.